This is the book of Matthew, chapter 5. And we're going to be going from chapter 5 to chapter 7, going over the teachings, the lessons, the demonstrations and examples of the only begotten Son, Yahushua HaMashiach. And if we have time, y'all willing, we'll be able to cover his commands and instructions in chapter 10. And if we are blessed with more time, we should cover his prophecy in chapter 24. But starting with his teachings, we begin in the book of Matthew, chapter 5, verse 1. But when he saw the crowds, he went up on a mountain. And when he was seated, his taught ones, his disciples, his students, came to him. Verse 2, and having opened his mouth, he was teaching them, saying, so these are the teachings. This is where the teachings of the only begotten Son started in the book of Matthew, chapter 5, verse 2. Clearly says these are his teachings, and this is where they begin, and this is what he was saying, and he's going to continue saying these teachings to the end of chapter 7. Verse 3, blessed are the poor in spirit, because theirs is the kingdom of the heavens. So blessed are the poor in spirit, meaning those who humble themselves. Blessed are those who humble themselves, because theirs is the kingdom of the heavens. Verse 4, blessed are those who mourn, because they shall be comforted. So blessed are those who mourn for others. Blessed are those who mourn for others, because they shall be comforted when they are in mourning. So when you mourn for others, you will be comforted, and people will mourn with you when you've suffered a loss. Blessed, verse 5, blessed are the meek, because they shall inherit the earth. So blessed are the meek. Who are the meek? The meek are the friendly. The meek are those who are approachable, those who, are easygoing, friendly. Blessed are the meek. Blessed are those, because they shall inherit the earth. These are the ones who will remain in the earth, because they're friendly. He's not going to, angry people, mean people are not going to remain on the earth. Mean, nasty, hateful, angry people will not remain in the earth. So this is what the Messiah is teaching us, like, to be meek, friendly, approachable, because they shall inherit the earth. These are the people who shall inherit the earth. Mean, hurtful, nasty people will not inherit the earth when it's all said and done. Verse 6, blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, because they shall be filled. So blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness. What is righteousness? Is obedience. Righteousness is obedience. We know this from the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 6, verse 20 to 25. We know that our righteousness is obedience. So anyone who hunger and thirsts to be obedient, to obey the spiritual laws of God, the instructions of God, they shall be filled. If you take the initiative to want to obey, you show effort that you want to obey, you will be filled. you show effort that you want to follow instructions, you will be filled. You shall receive. Verse 7. Blessed are the compassionate, because they shall obtain compassion. So blessed are the compassionate, those who are compassionate and has empathy for others. Those who show empathy for others, empathy will be shown to them. Compassion will be shown to them. Verse 8, blessed are the clean in heart. Blessed are the clean in heart, because they shall see Elohim. They shall see God. So how do you become clean in heart? By demonstrating all the above that we just covered. Starting from the top, you develop this clean heart, this spiritual clean heart, because the flesh heart is wicked and evil. The flesh heart is hereditarily wicked. So this is the spiritual heart of the spiritual child within you. So how you develop this clean heart this spiritual clean heart in order to see the spiritual, the supreme spirit, the most high, and what it is that he needs you to see, what it is that he needs you to do. How do you develop this? This is how you develop this, from covering everything from the top. Demonstrating having it, to be poor in spirit, to be humble, humility, mourning for others, being meek, friendly, approachable, hungering and thirsting for obedience, to be obedient, being compassionate, having empathy for others. This is how you develop this clean spiritual heart, the spiritual clean heart. So you can see God and see what it is that he reveals to you. So you can see God and see what it is that he needs you to see. Until you see verse 9, blessed are the peacemakers, because they shall be called children of God. So who are the peacemakers? Those who are making peace between themselves and others. Those who are making peace between nations and other nations. Those who are making peace between people and people. It's not to butt your, into someone else's business and strangers' business, because the spiritual wisdom and knowledge and understanding taught us through Solomon not to do that. Stick our nose in other people's business. But when you know people, try to squash whatever matter it is that they have between them. Be a peacemaker. This is how you demonstrate and show yourself to be a spiritual child of God, when you're a peacemaker. This is what the Messiah is saying. Blessed are the peacemakers, because they shall be called children of God, spiritual children of God. This is the closest demonstration to be known and show yourself to be a spiritual child of God. When you're making peace and you want to see peace, you're not instigating. You don't want to see fights. You don't want to see arguments. You're not trying to get your phone and try to record someone arguing and seeing something, or you're not making up stuff and having people go against each other. You're not instigating fights and arguments. That's the opposite of a spiritual child of God. That's the opposite of a peacemaker. Verse 10, blessed are those persecuted for righteousness' sake, because theirs is the kingdom of the heavens. So when you're persecuted for righteousness' sake, you're persecuted for being obedient. You're persecuted for being obedient, not for just doing you, not for just being this, that way, and you going to this building every week, every Sunday. It's not, no, it's for actual obedience. You're persecuted for being obedient. You're persecuted for being obedient. So this is when you're persecuted for being obedient to the spiritual laws of God, the instructions of God, you've given yourself access to the kingdom of the heavens. You've reserved your place in the kingdom. Verse 11, blessed are you when they reproach and persecute you and falsely say every wicked word against you for my sake. Key words, for my sake. Those are the key words. Not just for your sake, not just for you doing you. No. Blessed are you when they reproach, persecute you, and falsely say every wicked word against you for his sake, meaning for what he's teaching us, what he's teaching in this chapter, what he's teaching in these chapters, what he's going to be teaching us in these chapters. What he's taught us so far is to be, if you're persecuted for being humble, persecuted for mourning for others, persecuted for being friendly, persecuted for being obedient, persecuted for being compassionate, persecuted for being a peacemaker. That's for his sake. That's the sake he's, explaining. For his sake. Not for just anything and not just doing anything and doing you and doing whatever it is that you do. And people are making up things about that's not what he's referring to. He's talking about for what you do that he taught. Do what he left as a lesson. What he he left as an example. What he left as a demonstration. That we're reading, that we're going over right now. He says in verse 12, rejoice and be glad. Rejoice and be glad, because your reward in the heavens is great. For in this way, they persecuted the prophets who were before you. So when you're persecuted for his sake, doing what he's taught, what he's teaching, and you're persecuted for doing what he left as an example, you're persecuted for doing what he left as demonstration. He says to rejoice and be glad, because your reward in the heavens is great. For in this way, they persecuted the prophets who were before you. So this is a clear indication that the prophets who were before us were following the lessons and the teachings and the examples and the demonstrations of the only begotten Son, the Mashiach, Yahushua. The prophets who were before us were humble, poor in spirit. The prophets who were before us was mourning for others. The prophets who were before us were meek, friendly, approachable. The prophets who were before us were hungering and thirsting for righteousness, to be obedient. The prophets who were before us were compassionate. The prophets who were before us were peacemakers. This is a clear indication of that. So you can't try to separate the old from the new, the old servants of God from the new servants of God. They're the same servants of God doing the same thing. They weren't doing nothing different. This is a clear indication of that. This is the book of Matthew, chapter 5. Verse 12, rejoice and be glad, because your reward in the heavens is great. For in this way, meaning the way that he's teaching, in the way that the Messiah is teaching in this chapter, in these chapters, they persecuted the prophets who were before you. So they weren't doing anything different. They were following instructions. They were following instructions. They were obeying the laws, the spiritual laws of God. The prophets of old weren't doing nothing different than what the servants, our ancient brothers and followers of Yahushua were doing. Verse 13, you are the salt of the earth, but if the salt becomes tasteless, how shall it be seasoned? For it is no longer of any use but to be thrown out and to be trodden down by men. So you are no longer of any use if you're not humble, poor in spirit. You are no longer of any use if you're not meek, friendly, approachable. You are no longer of any use if you're not hungry and thirsty for righteousness, to be obedient. You're no longer of any use if you're not compassionate. You're no longer of any use if you're not a peacemaker. You're no longer of any use but to be trodden down and be, Verse 14, you are the light of the world. It is impossible for a city to be hidden on a mountain. So you are the light of the world. Nor do they light a lamp and put it under a basket, but on a lampstand, and it shines to all those in the house. Verse 16, let your light so shine before men, so that they see your good works and praise Yahuwah. Praise your Father who is in the heavens. So this is what he's saying. Your light. How do you let your light shine? You let your light shine and your good works be seen by being humble, poor in spirit. You let your light shine and your good works be seen by mourning for others. You let your light shine and your good works be seen by being meek, friendly, approachable. You let your light shine and your good works be seen by hungering and thirsting for righteousness, being obedient. You let your light shine and your good works be seen by being compassionate, having empathy for others. You let your light shine and let your works be seen, good works be seen, by being peacemakers. So that people will see your good works, see these good works, and praise your Father who is in the heavens, who deserve all the glory, all the praise. This is what the whole idea is. This is what it's all about. Verse 17, do not think that I came to destroy the Torah or the prophets. I did not come to destroy, but to complete. So he's telling you don't even think that I came to destroy the instructions of my Father. Don't even think that I came to destroy the prophecies of the prophets of my Father. Don't even think it. He's telling us not even to think it, but you have most people today that are thinking this, that are thinking that he came to destroy the instructions of his Father. You got a lot of people thinking that he came to destroy the prophecies of his Father. You have many people thinking this. And he's telling the Messiah himself told us not even to think it. Do not think that I came to destroy the instructions of God in the prophecies. I did not come to destroy, but to complete, meaning to fulfill, to follow them, and to fulfill them. Verse 18, for truly I say to you, till the heaven and the earth pass away, one yod and one title shall by no means pass from the Torah till all be done. So that means the instructions of God are still intact because the earth is still intact. Everything, the sun hasn't gone dark, the moon hasn't gone dark, the planets haven't shaken, the stars haven't fallen. The earth is still intact. So that means the instructions of God is still intact. The instructions of God are still required, still expected to be followed, still expected to. For truly I say to you, till the heavens and the earth pass away, the heavens is the sky. That means the stars falling. Until the stars fall, until the earth shake, to where as though it's no more, until it passes away, one yod, one title shall by no means pass from the instructions of God till all be done. All, what is all? all the prophecies be done, until all the prophecies be done. All the prophecies fulfilled, and all the prophecies haven't been fulfilled yet. So the instructions of God are still required. All the prophecies of God has not been fulfilled yet, so the instructions of God are still expected of us to be followed. Verse 19, whoever then breaks one of the least of these commands and teaches men so shall be called least in the kingdom of the heavens. But whoever does and teaches them, he shall be called great in the kingdom of heaven. So whoever has broken, then whoever has disobeyed in the past, whoever has broken the least of the commands, the instructions in the past, but nowadays they teach that we should do them. They teach that they should be followed. They should be obeyed. They will be called the least in the kingdom. Even though they're the least in the kingdom, at least they're in the kingdom. At least they'll be in the kingdom. So if you've disobeyed and didn't follow the commands and follow the instructions in the past, and you repent, turn back to these instructions, turn back to these commands, and start to follow them, start to obey them, and start to teach these commands and teach these instructions, you will be known as the least in the kingdom, but at least you'll be in the kingdom. On the other hand, whoever does and teaches them, he shall be called great in the kingdom of the heavens. So these are rare people who've gone their life without breaking the least of these commands, and they also been gone their life teaching these commands. They will be known as the greatest. They would be known as great in the kingdom of the heavens, and they would earn every right to be called that, great in the kingdom, if they go their life without breaking the least of these commands and teaching them. You will earn that right. You will earn that right. And you have people, we can't say that there's not people out there. You have monks, people that call themselves monks. Who's to say that, there aren't people like monk-like people who are in the word of God, who have gone their whole life not breaking the least of these commands and teaching these commands. Can't write off people like that. And if you are one of these rare people, you will be known as a great in the kingdom of heaven. You will earn every right to be called the great in the kingdom of heaven. Because it's the rarest and the toughest thing to do. To go your whole life without breaking the least of the commands. Let alone teaching them while you're not breaking them. Verse 20, for I say to you that unless your righteousness exceeds that of the scribes and the Pharisees, you shall by no means enter into the kingdom of the heavens. You should by no means enter into the kingdom of the heavens. For I say to you that unless your righteousness exceeds that of the scribes and the Pharisees, you shall by no means enter into the kingdom of heaven. So what the Messiah is saying in chapter 5 of Matthew, verse 20, is that your obedience have to exceed that of the scribes and the Pharisees in order to enter into the kingdom of heaven. Your obedience have to exceed that of the scribes and the Pharisees in order to enter into the kingdom of heaven. So anyone who try to teach that you don't have to be obedient, they will be nowhere near entering to the kingdom of heaven, because you have to have not only some form of obedience, but your obedience have to exceed that of the scribes and the Pharisees. And this is what he's going to teach us, how to get our obedience to exceed that of the scribes and the Pharisees, so we can enter into the kingdom of heaven. Because he's clearly saying in the book of Matthew, chapter 5, verse 20, that For I say to you that unless your righteousness, meaning your obedience, exceeds that of the scribes and the Pharisees, you shall by no means enter into the kingdom of the heavens. Verse 21. You heard that it was said to those of old, you shall not murder. We heard this. The Pharisees and the scribes observed this. We should continue to observe this, but this is the Messiah taking it a step further. In order to get our righteousness to exceed the scribes and the Pharisees, or obedience to exceed the scribes and the Pharisees, to enter into the kingdom, this is what he says. But I say to you, and whoever murders shall be liable to judgment. But I say to you that whoever is rough with his brother, angry with his brother or sister, without a cause, shall be liable to judgment. And whoever says to his brother, Raka, shall be liable to the Sanhedrin. Yeah, we get that. The Pharisees get that. The scribes get that. This is what they were doing. They're avoiding calling each other Raka. But this is what the Messiah says. But whoever says, you fool, shall be liable to the fire of Gehenna. So whoever calls their brother or sister out of their name from a place from ill will, a place of a wicked, like a angry and nasty place, and you're calling them out of their name, anything out of their name, that's from a place of wickedness and ill will and hate. You're making yourself liable to the fire of Gehenna. You'll be liable to the fire. Verse 23, if then you bring your gift to the slaughter place, and there remember that your brother holds whatever against you. Verse 24, leave your gift there before the slaughter place, and go first make peace with your brother, and then come and offer your gift. So he's telling you to stop your gathering, stop your worshiping in the place of worship. Stop everything you're doing if you remember your brother and sister who likely was once there with you. You remember that you have an issue with them. You remember that you have, peace to be made between you and that brother, or peace to be made between you and that sister. He tells us to stop everything that we're doing and go make peace with that brother or sister, and then come back to worship. Then come back to gather with your other brothers and sisters. Then come back to congregate with your other brothers and sisters. You can't do that if you have issues with one brother or sister. You got to go handle that. You got to go make peace. Verse 25, be well-minded with your opponent promptly while you are on the way with him, lest your opponents deliver you to the judge and the judge to the officer, and you be thrown into prison. Verse 26, truly I say to you, you shall by no means get out of there till you have paid the last penny. So basically pay the debts to your brothers and sisters. If you owe your brothers and sisters, pay them. Pay them before they have to take matters in their own hands. Pay them before they have to come for you and ask for their money. Pay them before, at least tell them how you're going to pay them. Give them a layout of how they're going to get paid. Pay them before they look to take you to court. Pay your brothers and sisters. I'm not talking about collections. I'm talking about brothers and sisters who are relying on you to pay them, who are counting on you to pay them back. The Messiah is telling us to pay these people. Pay your brothers. Pay your sisters. Pay your debts to your brothers and sisters before they have to take matters in their own hands. They shouldn't have to do that. This is the book of Matthew, chapter 5. Verse 27. You heard that it was said to those of old, you should not commit adultery. We heard this. The Pharisees observed this. The scribes observed this. We should continue to observe this. But this is what the Messiah says to get our obedience to exceed the scribes of this, to exceed that of the scribes and the Pharisees in order for us to enter into the kingdom. This is what he says. But I say to you that everyone looking at a woman to lust for her has already committed adultery with her in his heart. So he's saying, like, even that, he's saying that lusting, meaning letting your imagination run wild, is lust, is adultery. Letting your imagination run wild towards a woman who is married or towards a woman while you're married is lust and adultery. You're committing adultery through your imagination. Verse 29. And if your right eye causes you to stumble, pluck it out and throw it away from you. For it is better for you that one of your members perish than for your entire body to be thrown in the Gehenna. Is he telling us to harm ourselves? No, because if we pluck out our own eyes, we likely bleed out. So he's clearly telling us to, correct me if I'm wrong, Master, you're not telling us to harm our temples, because we would clearly likely, bleed out. So he's telling you to, whatever your spiritual eye is watching, pluck it out. Whatever your spiritual eye is watching that cause you to stumble, cause you to sin, pluck it out. Get rid of it. Get rid of the app. Get rid of the program. Get rid of the website. Get rid of what it is that your spiritual eye is watching that will cause you to stumble, that will cause you to sin, leads you to sin. This is what he's saying. Get rid of that. Get rid of whatever app, website, program, movie, show that causes you to stumble, causes you to sin. Pluck it out. Verse 30. And if your right hand causes you to stumble, cut it off and throw it away from you. For it is better for you that one of your members perish than for your entire body to be thrown into Gehenna. Is he telling us to harm our bodies? No, he's not telling us to do that. We will likely bleed out. So what he's actually saying is, cut off those who, cut off your right hand man or woman who is causing you to stumble. Cut off this person who causes you to stumble, who seduces you to sin. Cut these people off. Cut these people out of your life. Cut these people out of the gathering. Cut these people out of the body of the Messiah. When 2 or 3 are gathered and one of them is trying to seduce the other 2 to sin, to stumble, you have to cut them off. You have to cut these people out of the circle. Verse 31. And it has been said, whoever puts away his wife, let him give her a certificate of divorce. We know this. The scribes and the Pharisees observed this. But this is what the Messiah is telling us in order to get our righteousness, our obedience to exceed that of the scribes and the Pharisees so we can enter into the kingdom. This is what he's telling us. But I say to you that whoever puts away his wife, except for the matter of whoring, so anyone who divorces his wife, except for the matter of whoring, except for the matter of her sleeping with another man, anyone who puts away his wife except for the matter of sleeping with another person, makes her commit adultery. And whoever marries a woman who has been put away commits adultery. So when you put away your wife for any reason other than her sleeping with someone else, you're leading her to commit adultery. You're leading her to sleep with somebody else. You're leading the person she have slept with to adultery. Because she belonged to you. But you're forcing her to be to have another Adam rule over her, to have another man rule over her and be a husband over her and sleep with her. You're leading her to do that. All because you may not get along with her anymore. You may not have any patience for her curses of Eve, her emotional outbursts and depression and mood swings. All because you don't find her attractive anymore. That's no reason to divorce your wife. That's no reason to put away your wife. Only if she has slept with someone else that's the only exception to put away your wife, is if she slept with someone else. That's the only exception to put away your wife, if she is to, that's the only exception to divorce your wife, is if she has slept with someone else. Verse 33, again, you heard that it was said to those of old, you should not swear falsely, but shall perform your oaths to Yahuwah. We heard this. The scribes and the Pharisees observed this. But this is what the Messiah says: in order to get our righteousness, our obedience to exceed that of the scribes and the Pharisees. This is what he says. But I say to you, do not swear at all, neither by the heaven, because it is God's throne, nor by the earth, for it is his footstool, nor by Jerusalem, for it is the city of the great kings. Nor swear by your head, because you are not able to make one hair white or black. But let your word yes be yes, and your no be no. And what goes beyond these is from the wicked one. So this is what the Messiah is telling. The Messiah is saying not to swear on anything. Don't swear on this dead homie. Don't swear on this dead person, your mama, your son. Don't swear on nothing and nobody. Let your yes be yes and your no be no. Just that. It's that simple. Anything beyond this is from the wicked one. Anything beyond this is finessing, manipulation, working your craft, trying to convince someone that you are telling the truth, trying to convince someone that you're not lying, trying to convince someone that you this and you that, trying to prove. That's if it's either you did it or you didn't, yes or no. It's either you are or you're not, yay or nay. Simple answers, simple answers. Anything beyond this is from the wicked one, is what the Messiah is saying. It's finessing, it's craft, it's manipulation. Let your yes be yes and your no be no. And what goes beyond these is from the wicked one. Verse 38, you heard that it was said, an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. We heard this. The scribes and the Pharisees, they observed this. But this is what the Messiah says: in order to get our righteousness and our obedience to exceed that of the scribes and the Pharisees. This is in order to enter into the kingdom. This is what he says. But I say to you, do not resist the wicked, meaning don't run from the wicked. But whoever slaps you on your right cheek, turn the other to him also. So he's basically saying, yo, don't run from the wicked. And if they slap you, you got to turn the other cheek to them. Now, me personally, I avoid people who slap people. I'm not going to go around people who slap people. I don't want to know people who slap people. I don't want to meet people who slap people. I don't want to be in the places where people who slap people be at. I'm not going to put myself in a predicament to where as though I got to turn the other cheek. Because my flesh is the instinct of my flesh is going to want to slap a person back. The instinct of my flesh is going to want to, get an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. when it's the spiritual child of God in me that has to turn the other cheek. As if, like, you know, in the movies where, you know, they like, is that all you got? This is what the Messiah is saying we should be doing. And we wouldn't have to worry about someone slapping us if we're not making fun of others, talking about people behind their backs, gossiping, false witnessing, making up lies against people, backbiting. People won't. People only slap. People will only want to slap you if you're talking about them, if you're making fun of them and you're making up lies about them and you're doing things that you shouldn't do towards them. That's the only time people will want to slap you. Unless you're going around, you know, people who are mentally, you know, ill and they just have, you know, random outbursts. You're going around people that's impaired, under the influence. You go into these places of drinking and getting under the influence. This is where people get slapped. This is where people, you know, want to put paws on you, put hands on you. So if you avoid these places and you avoid talking about people, you don't have to worry about nobody wanting to slap you. To where as though it's going to be required of you to turn the other cheek. The Messiah required of you to turn the other cheek. If you find yourself in a predicament where you get slapped. This is the book of Matthew chapter 5, verse 39. But I say to you, do not resist the wicked, meaning don't run from the wicked. You have to stand there and be like, is that all you got? Like, you don't have to say, is that all you got? But you have to, hold your chin up as if, is that all you got? This is what the Messiah is expecting of you if you find yourself getting slapped. But you wouldn't have to worry about that if you wasn't talking about people. You wouldn't have to worry about that if you wasn't making up stories about people. You wouldn't have to worry about that if you weren't going into these places of drinking and getting under the influence. You wouldn't have to worry about someone slapping you. Just a thought. And he who wishes to sue you and take away your inner garment, let him have your outer garment as well. So this is what he's also asking of us. Anyone who took something from us or sued us for something, he's telling you like, let him have something else. Take this too. You can have this too. The reason why he's saying this, he's trying to see who's loyal to the flesh and their material things, who's loyal to the spirit, and what in the matters of the spirit. He's looking for spiritual children of God, those who are not concerned with the flesh, what's made by the flesh and for the flesh. This is what you're not concerned of the flesh. The spirit is not concerned of the matters of the flesh. The spirit is only concerned with the matters of obeying the Most High, following his instructions, following the lessons and teachings of his only begotten Son. That's the matters of the spirit. But the matters of the flesh is worried about who said what to him, who said this to him, who slapped him so they can slap him back, who took something from him, who sued him so they could get a tooth for a tooth, eye for an eye, and a tooth for a tooth, so they can get back. This is the matters of the flesh. This is what the flesh is concerned with. So he's trying to see he's teaching us to not be concerned with our flesh, our cheek, our fleshly cheek. Not be concerned with someone taking our garments. Give them something to take my pants, take these pants too. You took that shirt, take these pants. That goes with it. They match. This is where he needs us to be. To not be concerned with the matters of the flesh, the matters of the world. If you don't think so, let me continue. Verse 40, and he who wishes to sue you and take away your inner garment, let him have your outer garment as well. Verse 41, and whoever compels you to go 1 mile, go with him 2. So basically, anyone who's asking you to do something, ask him, what else you need me to do? Because most people of the flesh be like, man, I don't feel like that. I don't feel like doing that. Most people of the flesh be like, I don't feel like doing that. They'll make a big excuse, a way somehow to get up out of doing what it is that's what someone is asking them to do, a favor for them. But the Most High is saying, the Messiah is saying like, yo, in order for you to show yourself to be a spiritual child and have your righteousness to exceed the scribes and the Pharisees to enter in the kingdom, you have to ask that person, yo, what else you need me to do? You need anything else? Anything else I can do? Anything else I can help you with? Most people are not thinking like that. Most people are not looking to do the first thing for a person, let alone ask them what else do they need? What else do they need them to do? What else do you like them to do? What else do you need? You know what I mean? So this is what he's looking for. Verse 42, give to him who asks of you, and from him who wishes to borrow from you, do not turn away. So this is another thing that most people of the flesh is not. They not trying to let nobody borrow nothing. The first thing they're going to say is, I don't got it. I don't have it. They're going to look for an excuse to make up. This is how the flesh operates. But the spirit is not concerned with that. The spirit is going to let someone borrow because they're not concerned with their money. Money has no value to the spirit. Verse 43, you heard that it was said, you should love your neighbor and hate your enemies. We heard this. The scribes and the Pharisees observed this. But this is what the Messiah says in order to get our righteousness and our obedience to exceed that of the scribes and the Pharisees so we can enter into the kingdom. This is what the Messiah says. But I say to you, love your enemies. Bless those cursing you. Do good to those hating you. And pray for those insulting you and persecuting you. This is what the Messiah is saying. Why he's saying this? This is why he's saying this. So that you become children of your Father who is in the heavens. Because he makes his sun rise on the wicked and on the good, and sends rain on the righteous and on the unrighteous. So he has to tell the difference. He has to know who's righteous and unrighteous. He has to know who's a child of man, child of flesh, and who's a spiritual child of God. Spiritual child of his Father. He has to know the difference. He has to know who's who, because he has his sun shine on the wicked and the good, the child of flesh and the spiritual child of God. His sun shines on both, so he has to know who's who. He has to know the difference. He has to know who's who. Who's a spiritual child of his, spiritual child of God, and who's a earthly child of man, a child of the flesh, concerned with the flesh, the matters of the flesh, the matters of the world, concerned with their clothes, concerned with who said what and who did what, and slapping somebody back, getting an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth, and not letting nobody borrow anything, and you know what I mean? And hating their enemies. Because the people of the flesh, they can't love. The flesh will not love their enemies. Our flesh doesn't want to love our enemies. It's the spirit within us. It's the spiritual child of God within us that has the capability of loving our enemies. The flesh doesn't want to bless those cursing them. It's the spiritual child of God within us that has the capability to bless those cursing us. The flesh does not want to do good for those hating them. It's the spiritual child of God within us that wants to do good for those hating us. Our flesh does not want to pray for those insulting and persecuting us. It's the spiritual child of God within us that wants that is the only entity and only being that has the capability of praying for those insulting us and praying and persecuting us. The flesh is incapable of any of this. So this is why he says, so that you become, he needs us to demonstrate this so that we become children of our Father in heavens, in the heavens. This is the whole point. This is what the whole chapter 5 led up to. And what is going to continue to lead up, it's going to continue to be, is so that we become spiritual children of God. Humbling ourselves, mourning for others, being meek, friendly, approachable, peacemakers, having compassion and empathy for others, loving our enemies, blessing those cursing us, doing good to those hating us, praying for those insulting and persecuting us. These are all the character, spiritual traits of God and the spirit, and the spiritual character traits of the spiritual children of God within us. The spiritual character traits of his only begotten Son. That's teaching us this. These are the character traits of the Messiah, his only begotten Son. This is what he's teaching us to demonstrate, that he demonstrated, the examples that he left. This is what he's teaching us in order for us to become spiritual children of God, and less of spiritual children of the less of children of the flesh, less of children of men, concerned with the matters of the world, matters of the flesh, how to get an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth and get our get back, how to not let nobody borrow, and how to hate our enemies, and how to But I say to you, love your enemies, bless those cursing you, do good to those hating you, and pray for those insulting and persecuting you, so that you become spiritual children of your Father in the heavens, because he makes his sun rise on the wicked and on the good, and sends rain on the righteous and on the unrighteous. Verse 46, for if you love those loving you, if you just love those loving you, what reward have you? Are the tax collectors not doing the same? Are the tax collectors not doing the same too? So if you just loving those who love you, what make you different from a tax collector? What make you different from the scribes and the Pharisees? What make you different from a wicked one, an evil one? What makes you different from a child of man, a child of the flesh? The whole point is to be a spiritual child of God, because it's the only begotten Son of God who loved others, those who didn't love him. It's the only begotten Son of God who loved those who didn't love him and loved his enemies. So if you just loving those who love you, what are you doing different? How are you making yourself different? How are you separating yourself, setting yourself apart from the children of men? How are you setting yourself apart from the children of the flesh? How are you setting yourself apart from the children of the enemy, the liars? How are you setting yourself apart from the children of the world, concerned with the world, the matters of the world? How are you setting yourself apart from the tax collector and the scribes and the Pharisees? Because they're loving people who love them. They're loving people who love them. So how are you any different? Verse 47. And if you greet your brothers only, what do you do more than others? Are the tax collectors not doing so too? So if you just greeting your brothers and sisters only, you just greeting those who you know, what are you doing different from the scribes and the Pharisees, the tax collectors, the children of men, the children of flesh, the children of the enemy, the children of the world, who greet only the people that look like them, who greet only the people that they're related to, only the people that look like them, only their own people, their own brothers, their own sisters. This is proof that the Messiah was trying to basically teach us to come out of just greeting our own people and loving our own people. This is proof. This is a clear indication. The book of Matthew, chapter 5, verse 46. Verse 47. And if you greet your brothers only, what do you do more than others? So this wasn't just for your brothers. You weren't just to treat your brothers with this love. You weren't just to treat your sisters with this love. You weren't just to greet your brothers or sisters. You were to love people who weren't your brother and sister and greet people who weren't your brothers and sisters. This is what he's expected of us. Because if you're not, what are you doing that the tax collector is not doing? They're just greeting their own people. The scribes and the Pharisees is just greeting their own people. The children of men, the children of the flesh, the children of the enemy, the children of the world are just greeting their own people. Verse 48, therefore be perfect. Therefore be perfect. Therefore be perfect as your Father in the heavens is perfect. So now he's your Father when you're operating, when you're following these demonstrations, following these lessons, following these instructions, following these teachings, following these examples of his only begotten Son. So far, what he taught from the beginning of chapter 5 of Matthew and where we are now at the end of chapter 5. When you've shown yourself to follow this, you now have the right to call his Father your Father. You now have the right to call his Father your Father because you have now became a spiritual child of his Father through what he left as an example, through what he taught, through what he left as a demonstration. So he's not asking your flesh to be perfect because the flesh is imperfect. The flesh will never perfect this. The flesh is incapable of perfection. He's asking the spiritual child of God to be perfect. The spiritual child of God within you to be perfect. That's who he's expecting to be perfect. He's not expecting your flesh to be perfect. He's expecting the spiritual child of God within you to rule over the flesh, to deny the flesh of what it wants to say, to deny the flesh of where it wants to go, to deny the flesh of what it wants to do, to deny the flesh of who it wants to be with. That's what he's expecting to be perfect. He's expecting you to perfect that as the spiritual child of God within you, the breath of life spirit within you. He's expecting you to rule over your flesh and stop it from doing this, saying this, going this place, going with this person. That's what he's expecting. That's the perfection he's expecting. It's the effort. Striving to perfect that. Therefore, be perfect as your Father in the heavens is perfect. So he is now your Father once you do this. Once you're loving your enemies and blessing those cursing you and doing good for those hating you and praying for those insulting you and persecuting you so that you become sons, children of your Father in the heavens. Now you're known as his, now he's known as your father. Therefore, be perfect as your father in the heavens is perfect. Be perfect in the spiritual child of God, what you can control. You can control your flesh. You can tell it no. You can. As tough as it is, it's a battle. At least give the effort to. Practice it. The more you practice it, the more you get better at ruling over it and denying it and selling. It's not going to happen overnight. But the more you practice it and give effort to denying your flesh of what it wants to say, denying your flesh of what it wants to do, denying your flesh of where it wants to go, and denying your flesh of who it wants to be with, the better you'll get at it. Practice makes perfect. This is what he's expecting is practice. He's expecting this from the spirits within us, the spiritual children within us, because they're the only ones, that's the only being capable of practicing perfection, which is ruling over our flesh, denying our flesh, depriving our flesh. That was chapter 5. His teachings continue into chapter 6. Chapter 6, verse 1. Beware of doing your kind deeds before men in order to be seen by them. Otherwise, you have no reward from your Father in the heavens. So he's telling us to beware. He's teaching us, this is the Messiah in the book of Matthew, chapter 6, verse 1, teaching us to beware. Like, be mindful of doing your kind deed. Like doing your deed for the poor, doing your deed for the homeless, doing your deed for the sick, the thirsty, the hungry, the fatherless, the widows, the prisoners. Beware of doing these deeds for them before men in order to be seen by people. So he's telling you to beware of you getting your camera out and recording this. Beware of you telling everybody what you did for these people. Beware of posting this on social media, what you did for these people. Beware of this. Like, beware of this. Otherwise, you have no reward from your Father in the heavens. He's basically saying, like, you don't get no reward for doing your good deeds for these less fortunate people if you're telling someone about it, if you're broadcasting it, if you're trying to get the news involved and get reporters involved, and you trying to post it on your story and your page, and you trying to get views, likes, and you don't get that's the reward you get, is the approval of the people. You won't get no reward from God, is what the Messiah is telling us, teaching us. Verse 2, thus, when you do a kind deed, when you do for the less fortunate, do not sound the trumpet before you as the hypocrites do in the congregations and in the streets, to be praised by men. Truly I say to you, they have their reward. So he's basically calling these people who do this hypocrites. This is his definition of a hypocrite. It's people who want to be seen doing good for the less fortunate. People who want to be noticed doing good for the less fortunate. People who post on their stories and their pages what they're doing for the less fortunate. People who are in the places of worship wanting to be seen doing, because this is what he said, in the congregations. He's calling them hypocrites. Anyone who want to be seen by others, doing for the less fortunate. In the streets, doing for the less fortunate, wanting to be seen, wanting to be praised by men, is what he said. Truly I say to you, they have their reward. What is their reward? Their likes, their views. Oh, that's a good person. That's a good person. That's a good person. Look what they did for the people. Look what they did. That's the reward you get out of that. You don't get no reward from God. You get the reward you were seeking, which is the praise of the people, the likes, the views, the shares, the follows. That's all you're going to get. But when you do a kind deed, do not let your left hand know what your right hand is doing. So when you do for the needy, when you do for those who are less fortunate, don't let no one know about it. Don't let your spouse know. Don't let your brother, your sister, don't let your family member, your friends know. Don't let nobody know what you did. That's the only way to get a reward from God for doing what you did. But when you do a kind deed, do not let your left hand know what your right hand is doing, so that your kind deed shall be in secret. It should be in secret. And your Father who sees in secret shall himself reward you openly. Your Father who sees in secret shall himself reward you openly. So he has to see it done in secret, and for it to stay in secret, and then that's when he's going to reward you openly, to where as though everyone would see you've been rewarded clearly. You've been blessed by the Most High. You've been blessed. Your reward will be seen by others because you did the deed in secret. Your reward from God, your blessing from God will be seen from others because you carried out the deed in secret without telling anyone, what you did. Verse 5, and when you pray, you should not be like the hypocrites. Who are the hypocrites? For they love to pray standing in the congregations. These are the places of worship. And on the corners of the streets, to be seen by men. To be seen by men. This is what most people love to do. Pray in front of men. Pray in front of everybody. To be seen by men. To be known as prayer warriors, right? Truly I say to you, they have their reward. So he's calling these people hypocrites. So this is what the Messiah considers a hypocrite. Those who pray in front of everybody in the places of worship. Those who pray in front of everybody on their platforms and on their lives, on their streams, in the streets, to be seen by men. Truly I say to you, they have their reward. What is their reward? Oh, he's a prayer warrior. What is their reward? Likes, views, follows, shares. That's all. That's their reward. That's their reward. Verse 6, but you, when you pray, you who claim to follow the Messiah. This is who he's talking to. He's talking to everyone who claimed to follow him. All who claim to believe in him. All who claim to have faith in him. All who claim to be saved by him. You, when you pray, go into your room and having shut your door, and pray to your Father who is in the secret place. And your Father who sees in secret shall reward you openly. So he needs to see you pray in secret in order for your prayer to be answered and for him to reward you openly for praying in secret. Now you have this blessing that everyone can see, and this reward that everyone can see. You've been clearly blessed and rewarded by God because you prayed in secret. You didn't pray in front of everybody and everybody to call you a prayer warrior and you this, that, and the third, and you praying and wanting to be seen. No. Verse 7, and when praying, do not keep on babbling like the nations. for they think that they should be heard for their many words. So not only should you not be praying in public to be seen by everybody, you shouldn't be going on these long prayers, babbling like the nations, thinking you'll be heard for your many words. This is the book of Matthew, chapter 6. This is not my words. These are the words of who everyone claims to believe in and follow. And when praying, do not keep on babbling like the nations, for they think that they should be heard for their many words. Verse 8, therefore, do not be like them. He's telling us not to be like them. Do not be like the hypocrites. Do not be like those praying in front of everybody to be seen by everybody. In the worship place, in the streets, on their channels, social sites, their lives. Do not be like them. Therefore, do not be like them going on long prayers, thinking they'll be heard for their many words. He's clearly telling us, do not be like them. Therefore, do not be like them. For your Father knows what you need before you ask him. Your Father knows what you need before you ask him. And not only that, he tells us to pray to our Father who is in the secret place. He doesn't tell us to pray to him. He clearly tells us to pray to our Father. What are we to pray? This is what he says to pray. Verse 9, this then is the way you should pray. This then is the way you should pray. Our Father, who is in thy heavens, let your name be set apart. Let your kingdom come. Let your desire be done on earth as it is in the heavens. Give us today our daily bread, and forgive us of our debts as we forgive our debtors. And do not lead us into a trial, but deliver us from the wicked one. Because yours is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. Amen. This is what he taught us. This is how he taught us to pray. This is what he taught to pray, for us to pray. This is the prayer. Not babbling and making up our own prayers and going on long prayers to be heard for our many words in front of everybody, to be seen by men. Praying to him instead of his Father. Praying to be known as prayer warriors and get likes and views and shares and follows. And be... For if you forgive men their trespasses, your heavenly Father shall also forgive you. So if you forgive others, your Father forgives you. Verse 15, but if you do not forgive men their trespasses, neither shall your Father forgive your trespasses. So you have to forgive in order to be forgiven. If you're not able or willing to forgive, you can't expect to be forgiven. And it's the flesh. The flesh doesn't want to forgive. Trust and believe. Your flesh don't want to forgive. It wants to hold the grudge. It's hurt. Its feelings and pride and dignity and ego is hurt. But it's the spiritual child of God within you that he's expecting for you to be and tap into, that is able to forgive any and everybody in order to be forgiven. It's the spiritual child of God, breath of life spirit within you that's capable of forgiving. The flesh is not capable of forgiving anybody. Flesh doesn't want to forgive anybody, but remember, it's the spirit of child of God who has to deny the flesh of holding grudges, has to deny the flesh of not wanting to forgive, has to deny the flesh of wanting to get some revenge and get some get back. But if you do not forgive men their trespasses, neither shall your Father forgive your trespasses. Verse 16, and when you fast, do not be sad-faced like the hypocrites. Who are the hypocrites? Those who are sad-faced and want everybody to see that they're fasting. This is what the Messiah is calling hypocrites. This is his definition of a hypocrite, not your definition of a hypocrite. This is the Messiah's definition of a hypocrite. Those who do their good deeds so they can be seen by everybody, doing for others so they can be seen from everybody. Those who pray in front of everybody, and those who fast to let everybody know that they're fasting, that they're going on a fast, and that they're on a fast. This is who the Messiah considers a hypocrite. And when you fast, do not be sad-faced like the hypocrites, for they disfigure their faces, so that they appear to be fasting to men, So they allow their face to be disfigured and look like they're fasting, so that it be known that they're fasting. Truly I say to you, they have their reward. They have their reward because people, they're fasting. They must be righteous and holy. They're fasting. Truly they have that reward. The approval of the people is their only reward. Verse 17, but you who claim to follow the Messiah, you who claim to believe in the Messiah, you who claim to worship like the Messiah worship, how the Messiah says to worship. This is how he says. But you, this is what he says to you. When you fast, anoint your head and wash your face. Anoint your head and wash your face. Put oil on your head and wash your face. Verse 18, so that you do not appear to men to be fasting, but to your Father who is in the secret place. And your Father who sees in secret shall reward you openly. So when your Father sees that you're fasting in secret and nobody knows that you're fasting, when your Father sees that, he will reward you openly, so that people can see that you've clearly been rewarded and blessed by the Most High for fasting in secret, for not letting anybody know that you were fasting, for not letting anybody know that you were on a fast, or you're going on a fast, or you've went on a fast. You will be rewarded openly. You will be blessed openly where everybody can see. Verse 19, do not lay up for yourselves treasures on the earth, where moth and rust destroy, and where thieves break in and steal. So he's telling you not to lay up treasures, money for yourself. Don't save up this money for yourself on earth. It's one thing to invest your money in property, livestock, agriculture, and assets, farm animals and plants and seeds and stuff like that. You know what I mean? That's one thing. It's another thing when you're trying to save up all this money and you're not doing anything with it. You're not helping anybody with it. You're not investing it to make people's lives better. You're not investing in people. You're not investing in nothing. You're just looking to save it up, all up. Save it till you can't save it. Because you're not going to be able to save it from the moth. You can't save it from the rust. You can't save it from the thieves who break in and try to steal it. The cyber thieves who are constantly working to break in and try to steal it. The physical thieves who are trying to rob the bank. You can't save it from them. You can't save it. So you're saving it all up for what? This is what he says, not to save it. Invest in it. If you're going to have it, invest in it. Invest in the people. Make others' lives better. Invest in the less fortunate. Invest in your family. Invest in your... That's what happens. It leads to us getting robbed when we look to save up all the... It leads to us getting robbed. And he's trying to, save you the hurt. The Messiah is telling you, like, yo, don't look to be saved. Spend your life saving up money. Invest in property, invest in farm animals, invest in seeds to plant, invest in assets, invest in businesses for people to work and fend for themselves, invest in property for people to live in, to have a roof over their heads. He's not, money is not to be, that's why he said, do not lay up this treasure, because this is what is going to attract the moths who want to eat it up, the rust who wants to destroy it, and the thieves who want to steal it. This is what saving money up is going to attract. Thieves to want to rob and steal from you. Cyber thieves and actual real life thieves. I've been robbed before. I've been stolen from. This is what happens. So when you're investing and you're taking care of those people, because if you're taking care of them, they're not, if you're investing and giving back, if you're investing in the less fortunate, why would they want to steal from you? While you're using all your money to invest in their better, in the betterment of their life, to make their lives better. So if you're using that money to invest in communities, if you're using that money to invest in people who are less fortunate, why would they want to steal and be thieves? Why would they feel a need to come take from you? Because they know that you're investing all your money into a roof over their heads, a roof over your own head. They know that you're investing all your money into farm animals and a way for them to eat. They know that you're investing all your money into crops, a way for them to eat. They know that you're investing in all your money into business, a way for them to work for themselves and provide for themselves, provide for their family, provide and make their own, to have their own in order for them to invest themselves. So they're not looking to be a thief. They're not looking to steal from you, because they know that you truly are doing good, doing and giving back, and you truly are a spiritual child of God. You're not looking to save up all this money. Verse 20. But lay up for yourselves treasure in heaven, where neither the moth nor rust destroys, and where thieves do not break in and steal. They don't break in and steal if you're laying up treasures in heaven. What are those treasures? The rewards you receive for doing your good deeds to the less fortunate in secret. The rewards you receive and the blessings you receive for doing your good deeds for those in secret and not telling anybody. The rewards you receive for praying in secret and not praying in front of everybody. The rewards you receive for fasting in secret and not telling anyone that you're fasting. The rewards you receive for being humble, the blessings you receive for being humble and mourning for others and being meek and friendly and having compassion for others and being a peacemaker and loving your enemies, all that. This is how you lay up treasures in the heavens. No one's coming for that because that benefits them. That benefits them. So why would they be coming for you? They're not coming for the rewards in heaven. They're not coming for the treasures you lay up in heaven, because those treasures are laid up by doing what is good for the people. Does it make sense? Does it not make any sense? Those treasures are laid up for doing what is good for the people, those who are less fortunate, and having compassion and mourning for others and loving your enemies. Not even your enemies will be looking to do, because you're loving them. How can you do good? How would the enemies want to do any harm to you when you loving them now? And you praying for them? How are they going to counter? Nobody want to do you no wrong, because everything that you do is what God does for you. Everything that you do for others is what God does for you. Everything that you do for others is what his only begotten son has done for you and has done for others. When you're saving up all this money, what are you doing for others? You're saving it for yourself. It doesn't do anything for anybody. It's just sitting there. And it actually becomes an idol that you're worshiping. And we're about to get into that. Verse 21, for where your treasure is, there your heart shall be also. So where you got all this money saved, that's where your heart going to be worried. That's where your heart going to be. And that's where your priority going to be. And you're going to be worried about, dang, something happening to it. I got to add to it. It's getting low. What I took from it, I got to put back. Always wondering who's out to get it. Always wondering if you're running out of it. This is where your heart is going to be at. Verse 22, the lamp of the body is the eye. And if therefore your eye is good, all your body shall be enlightened. So if your eye is good, doing the will of God with your money, all your body shall be enlightened. Verse 23, but if your eye is evil, all your body shall be darkened. If then the light that is within you is darkness, how great is that darkness? So the darkness will always be great. If you have any darkness like that, and as far as like the darkness means, is your love for money. You prioritizing this, saving this money. That's the darkness. Verse 24, no one is able to serve two masters, for either he shall hate the one and love the other, or else shall cleave to the one and despise the other. You are not able to serve Elohim and Mammon. You are not able to serve God and money. You're not able to serve both, because one, serving money, you're looking to add to the money. You're looking to save the money. You're looking to protect the money. You're not looking to help the people with that money, because you need that money to stay saving. You need that money to increase. That's your whole objective. When you're serving money, you're serving it as an idol. You're serving it as a god. On the other hand, and when before I get to the other hand, when you're serving money, you're hating God. You're hating the other. That's why it says you're going to love one and hate the other. If you're loving money, you're going to hate, serving God, because serving God requires you to do for his people. with that money. So the idea of doing for the people with that money, you hate that thought. You hate that idea. It's the flesh that hates that idea. It's the flesh, it's the child of man who hates that idea. It's the child of the flesh who hates that idea. It's the child of the enemy who hates that idea. It's the child of the world who hates that idea to use that money to help God's people. So that's why it hates, one will hate the other. On the other hand, when you serving God, you will hate saving money. You will hate serving money. Serving money and saving money is the same thing. It's one and the same. Serving money and saving money is one and the same. So if you're serving God, you're doing for his people. You're looking to use that money for his people. So you're going to hate saving money. You're going to hate serving money. That's why he said you're going to love one and hate the other. The idea of saving it is something that you're going to dislike. It's something that it's the spiritual child of God who wants to serve his people with that money. It's the spiritual child of God who wants to let people borrow who asks. It's the spiritual child of God who wants to invest that money into the people, into property, so people can live where people can live. It's the spiritual child of God who wants to invest in businesses for people to work to make a living for themselves and their families and become investors themselves. It's the spiritual child of God who wants to invest in animals and farming and crops so people can eat. It's the spiritual child of God that wants to use that money to do that. It's the flesh that wants to keep it for itself. It's the flesh that has no concern with doing for the people and doing for God's people and using the money to do that. It's the flesh that wants to save it till they can't save it. And what I mean can't save it, you can't save it from being destroyed by the moth and the rust and stolen from the cyber thieves and the physical thieves. It's inevitable. It's coming. They're coming. Verse 25, because of the reason that you can't serve God and money, this is what he says. Because of this, I say to you, do not worry about your life, what you shall eat, or drink, or about your body, what you should put on. Is not life more than food? Is not life more than the food and the body more than the clothing? So this is what leads to you worrying about your life, is serving money. Serving money will lead to you worried about your life, what you should eat. Serving money and saving money will lead to you worry about your life, what you should eat, what you should drink, and what you should wear. But when you're serving God and investing your money into your family, your people, the less fortunate, all of that is going to come. You're investing. You have invested. You have all that because you invested in farm animals. You invested in crops. You invested in property. So you have all that. You have clothing. You have all that you need. Because of this, I say to you, do not worry about your life, what you shall eat or drink, or about your body, what you shall put on. Is not life more than the food and the body more than clothing? Verse 26, look at the birds of the heaven, for they neither sow nor reap nor gather into storehouses. Yet your heavenly Father does feed them. Are you not worth more than they? So the birds don't work for what they eat, but their creator feeds them. Are you not worth more than the birds that he feeds? They don't have to work for it. Yes, we labor 6 days, we labor, but we don't we labor 6 days in order to, because that's the actual instruction of God, to labor 6 days. But we're not laboring to save up money, save up all this money. And for it, because the bird doesn't have to do that. And are we not worth more than a bird? Verse 27, and which of you by worrying is able to add 1 cubit to his lifespan? So worrying is not going to add 1 hour, 1 day to your lifespan. Worrying about so why do you worry about clothing? Note well the lilies of the field, how they grow. They neither toil nor spin. So he's saying, like, look at the flowers. They don't work for how they look. They don't work for the clothes that the flowers don't work for the petals that they wear, the beautiful petals that they wear. They don't have to work to look beautiful. They neither toil nor spin. Verse 29, and I say to you that even Solomon in all his esteem was not dressed like one of these. Even Solomon couldn't outdress the flowers of the field. Even Solomon couldn't outdress the flowers of the field, and he was the richest in his time. He couldn't outdress the flowers. But if God so clothed the grass of the field, which exists today, and tomorrow is thrown into the furnace, how much more you, O you of little belief? So if he can find clothes for the flowers that's, thrown in the furnace tomorrow, like cutting grass, cut and thrown in the furnace, how much more is he able to find something for you to wear? Oh, you of little belief? Verse 31. Do not worry then, saying, what shall we eat? Or what shall we drink? Or what shall we wear? Do not worry then. Verse 32, for all these the nations seek for, and your heavenly Father knows that you need all these. Your heavenly Father knows that you need all these. He knows this. He's aware of this. He's aware that you need something to eat, something to drink, and something to wear. But seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these shall be added to you. So all of what you need to eat, all of what you need to drink, and all of what you need to wear will be added to you if you seek first his instructions, if you seek first obeying his spiritual laws, if you seek first the lessons and teachings of his only begotten Son, if you seek first the examples and demonstrations of his only begotten Son, if you seek first the spiritual knowledge, wisdom, and understanding of his kings, all will be added to you. The food, the water, the clothing, all of that will be added to you. If you seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, his obedience. Seek being obedient. Seek his kingdom. which is the lessons and the teachings and examples and the demonstrations of his only begotten Son that we're going over right now. And all will be added to you. Verse 34, do not then worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow shall have its own worries. Each day has enough evil of itself. Each day has enough evil of itself. Do not worry about tomorrow. Do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow shall have its own worries. Each day has enough evil of itself. Worry about getting through the day. Today is hard enough. We have to get through this day before we can worry about tomorrow. Each day has enough evil of itself that we got to get over and get through. Can't worry about tomorrow until we get through this day. That was chapter 6 of the book of Matthew. We're going to continue his teachings in chapter 7, verse 1. Do not judge, lest you be judged. Do not judge, lest you be judged. So that means whoever you judge for being this way and being that way, you will be judged for being whatever way and whatever it is that you're doing. How do we know that? Verse 2. For with what judgment you judge, you shall be judged. And with the same measure you use, it shall be measured to you. So whatever standard you give others, you lay on others, that standard would be laid on you. So if you're judging others for not doing this or doing something or not doing something, you will be judged for whatever it is that you're doing or whatever it is that you're not doing. And that same measurement, that same standard will be laid upon you. So if you're saying this person is not going to make it in the kingdom, or they're going to hell for this, that, and the third, the same could be said for you for whatever it is that you're falling short, wherever it is that you're falling short, and you just better be covering every aspect if you're finding yourself judging others and what their fate will be, where they're going. If you yourself don't got it all cleaned up. How do we know that? This is what he says. Verse 3. And why do you look at the splinter in your brother's eye, but do not notice the plank in your own eye? Why do you look at the splinter in your brother or sister's eye and don't notice the one in your own eye? Yes, the splinter may be different in their eye, something that you don't do, but there's a splinter in your own eye that's something that they don't do. There's a splinter in your own eye that you need to pluck out. It may be something, it may not be something that they're doing or not doing. It may be something else. Or how is it that you say to your brother, let me remove the splinter out of your eye, and see, a plank is in your own eye? How do you say, let me help you with this, or let me stop you from doing this, or let me help you start doing this, when you got something that you need to stop doing? You got something that you need to start doing. How? You got to get to know what it is that's asked of you. Because 90% of people who claim to be believers are missing the mark because of misinterpretation, misguidance, being misled, misunderstanding what it is that was written. Verse 5, hypocrite. First remove the plank from your own eye. First remove the plank from your own eye. And then you shall see clearly to remove the splinter out of your brother's eye. So you have to make sure you got yours, you got your house in order. You got to make sure you got your life cleaned up. You got to make sure that you're following the instructions of God. You have to make sure that you're following the lessons and teachings of his only begotten son. You have to make sure that you're following the examples and demonstrations of his only begotten son. You have to make sure you got to make sure you right before you can make sure someone else is right or call them wrong. You got to make sure that you right and you're not wrong. Before you can make sure that somebody else is right or call somebody else wrong, make sure that you right. Make sure that you're not wrong according to what it was written, according to what was taught, according to what was left as a lesson, left as an example, left as demonstrations, left as instructions, left according to the spiritual laws of God and his government, his spiritual government. Make sure you're not disobeying. You're not in disobedience. Verse 6, do not give what is set apart to the dogs. Do not give what is set apart to the dogs, nor throw your pearls before the pigs. Who are the dogs? Dogs are biblically the dogs are unbelievers. Who are the pigs? Biblically, the pigs are those who are unclean. So do not give what is set apart to the dogs. If a person is showing himself to be an unbeliever, an atheist, and they have no intent on believing, don't try to push this on them. Don't try to push what they don't want on them. And anyone show themselves to be unclean, they do what is unclean, eat what is unclean, and they live unclean according to the scriptures. Don't try to push what is clean on them. Don't try to push it on them. Because if you do, then they'll trample what you're pushing under their feet, meaning they'll make a mockery of it and they'll disrespect it. They'll make fun of it, try to mock you. And turn and tear you to pieces. So they'll turn and they may try to put hands on you. They may try to do you harm. So don't even bother trying to push what is clean on unclean people. Don't try to get people who don't believe to believe. They're proud of being unbelievers. They're proud of being unclean. I'm not pushing clean on unclean people. I'm not pushing belief, on people who don't believe. And we shouldn't. This is what the Messiah is telling us not to do. Verse 7, ask and it shall be given to you. Seek and you shall find. Knock and it shall be open to you. What is he referring to? Verse 8, for everyone who asks receives, and he who seeks finds, and to him who knocks it shall be open. What can we ask for? What can we seek for? What will be open to us? Verse 9, or is there a man among you who, if his son asks for bread, that's one example, she'll give him a stone. So obviously food It's something that we can ask for, seek for, and knock for. Verse 10, or if he asks for fish, shall he give him a snake? So clearly food is something we can be asking for, seeking for, and knocking for. Not just anything, I want this car, I want this, that, and the third. If it's in the will of the Most High for you to have car, or whatever it is that you're asking, that as long as it's in the will, shelter is a house, car is transportation. So, but any car will do. He's not going to give you the best unless you've rewarded for doing your deeds in secret, praying in secret, and fasting in secret. There's no limit to his reward. But anyway, that's a clear indication that he's telling us that we can ask for food, seek him for food, not for food. Verse 11, if you then, being wicked, know how to give good gifts, so these are good gifts, to your children, how much more shall your Father who is in the heavens give what is good to those who ask him? So you can't just ask him for anything. You can't ask him for things that are not good. You have to ask for what he believes is good for you. If it's not good for you, if it's not in your best, interest to have, he's not going to give it to you. If it's not according to his will, he's not going to give it to you. He's not going to give you something that's not good for you, that's not going to make you a better child, spiritual child of God. He's not going to give you something that's going to make you a better child of flesh, child of man, child of the enemy, child of the world. He's not going to give you nothing like that. He's only going to give you what will sustain you to be a child of his, a spiritual child of his, and carry out his will. Therefore, verse 12, therefore, whatever you wish men to do to you, do also to them. For this is the Torah and the prophets. This is the instructions of God and his prophecies. That's what it sums up to. That's what it all sums up. Whatever you wish men to do to you, do also to them. That's all he's asking of us. These are his instructions. These are his prophecies. This is what his prophecies are. This is what he prophesied us to be, to come to. A point where we're loving our enemies, blessing those cursing us. Basically, you doing whatever you want done to you, to be done to you. You want to treat others, you're treating others how you want to be treated. It's that simple. You want to be forgiven, forgive others. You want people to forgive you, forgive others. You would want people to let you borrow, let others borrow. You would want people to love you, love everybody. You would want people to greet you, greet everybody. You would want people to have compassion for you, have compassion for others. You will want people to be friendly to you, be friendly to others. You will want people to mourn for you, mourn for others. You will want people to be humble around you and towards you. Be humble yourself. You will want people to be be peaceful to you, be peacemakers. Verse 13, enter in through the narrow gate. The narrow gate. This is what he's made. He put is an exclamation mark on it, and like he yelled this. Enter in through the narrow gate, because the gate is wide And the way is broad that leads to destruction, and there are many who enter in through it. There are many who enter in through it because there are many who don't want to love their enemies. There are many who don't want to do for those, you know, do good for those persecuting them, and let people borrow and be humble. People, there are many who don't want to turn the other cheek. There are many who don't want to go the extra mile and let anyone, you know what I mean? There are many who don't want to forgive. There are many who want to lay up treasures and who want to pray in public and do their deeds so they can be seen by men. Pray so they can be seen by people. And fast so they can be seen by people. These are the many that will enter through, that are led to destruction. Verse 14, because the gate is narrow and the way is hard pressed, which leads to life, and there are few who find it. There are few who find it because there are few who are willing to be humble. There are few who are willing to mourn for others. There are few who are willing to have empathy for others. There are few who are willing to have compassion for others. There are few who are willing to forgive others. There are few who are willing to be peacemakers. There are few who are willing to be friendly. There are few who are willing to let others borrow. There are few who are willing to love their enemies, turn the other cheek, let people take something, and yeah, you can have this too. There are few who are willing to go the extra mile. What else do you want me to do? Is there anything else I can do for you? There are few who are willing to not save up all this money and invest their money into people instead, and do their good deeds in secret, and pray in secret, and fast in secret, and not want to be seen by anybody doing so. There are very few who are willing to do this, to show themselves to be spiritual children of God. Verse 15, but beware of the false prophets who come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are savage wolves. Inwardly they are savage wolves. They, on the outer appearance, they got the suits, the ties, they got the Hebraic garments, and the wraps, the head wraps, and all that. But inwardly they are savage wolves. They're saving up their money. They're saving up all this money from people tithing and getting offerings and bleeding the people dry, and doing their prayers in public, and doing their deeds for people in public, and doing for likes and views and shares and follows. They're not loving their enemies. They only greet the people they know. They only greet their brothers only. These are the savage wolves. These are the false prophets. By their fruit you shall know them. Are grapes gathered from thorn bushes, or figs from thistles? Verse 17. So every good tree yields good fruit, but a rotten tree yields wicked fruit. Verse 18. A good tree is unable to yield wicked fruit, and a rotten tree to yield good fruit. 19. Every tree that does not bear good fruit is cut down and thrown into the fire. Verse 20. So then by their fruit you should know them. What are the fruit? All the fruit is everything that he taught us from the beginning of chapter 5, verse 2 of Matthew's, to where we are now in chapter 7. Wrapping up chapter 7. That's the fruit. There's no other fruit. There's no other fruit. I know you heard our ancient brother Paul break down fruit, but it's according to what is taught by the Messiah All of what our ancient brother Paul broke down is according to what what the Messiah has taught from chapter 5, verse 2 in Matthew's to where we are now, wrapping up chapter 7. These are the fruits. There are no other fruits to be known by. And if you're not demonstrating and showing these fruits, loving your enemies, turning the other cheek, letting people borrow, humbling yourself, forgiving others, praying in secret, doing your good deeds in secret, fasting in secret. If you're not doing these fruits, every tree that does not bear good fruit is cut down and thrown into the fire. Go read this yourself. Go over it yourself. Reread it. I'm not making this up. Verse 21, not everyone who says to me, Master, Master, Lord, Lord, shall enter into the kingdom of the heavens. Not everyone who says to me, Master, Master, Lord, Lord. This is the Messiah's talk. This is the Messiah talking about the people on the day of judgment. Not everyone who says to me, Master, Master, Lord, Lord, shall enter into the kingdom of the heavens, but he who is doing the desire of my Father in the heavens. So you have to do the desire of his Father. What is the desire of his Father? The instructions of his Father. Obey the spiritual laws of his Father and his spiritual government. This is the desire of his Father. So you can't do one without the other. You can't follow his teachings, his lesson by loving enemies and loving people and loving without doing the desire of his Father, which is then following the instructions of his Father, obeying the spiritual laws of his Father and his spiritual government. You can't do it. Not everyone who says to me, Master, Master, Lord, Lord, shall enter into the kingdom of the heavens, but he who is doing the desire of my Father in the heavens. How you going to enter a place if you're not following the instructions of that place? How are you going to enter a place if you're not following the laws of that place? If you're not obeying the laws of that place? How do you expect to enter a place if you're not following the rules of that place? Tell me how does that work? How would that work? If you're not, if let's say a restaurant or establishment, if you don't follow the rules there, they're going to kick you out. You're not allowed to come there. In a club, there's a dress code. If you don't anything, there's a dress code. You're not dressed to get in here. You're not allowed in. This is the same thing. If you're not following the instructions of the God in heaven, don't expect to be in the kingdom of heaven. If you're not obeying the laws of the spiritual God, the supreme spirit and his government, don't expect to be in that kingdom. Don't be. Verse 23, and then I shall declare to them. Hold up, before I even get to that, I'm sorry, I skipped. Verse 22, many shall say to me in that day, that day of judgment. Many shall say in that day, this is the future, Master, Master, Lord, Lord, have we not prophesied in your name and cast out demons in your name and done many mighty works in your name? Verse 23, and then I shall declare to them, I never knew you. Depart from me, you who work lawlessness. So if you're working lawlessness and you don't believe in the laws of his Father and his Father's spiritual government, you don't believe in obeying the laws of his father and his father's spiritual government, how do you expect to enter into that kingdom that's ran on his government, on his by his father in that government? How? You work lawlessness. You're lawless. Verse 24, therefore, everyone who hears these words of mine, these words of his, these words of the Messiah, everyone who hears these words that he spoke and does them shall be like a wise man who built his house on the rock. So if you do all that he taught from chapter 5 to where we are in chapter 7, you will be like a wise man who built his house on the rock. Verse 25, and the rain came down, and the floods came, and the winds blew, and beat on that house, and it did not fall, for it was founded on the rock. What is the rock? The foundation is the instructions of God. The foundation is obeying the laws of the spiritual government. The foundation is the teachings, the lessons, the examples, the demonstrations of his only begotten Son. That's the foundation. That's the rock. If it's not built on that, what do we have? And everyone who hears these words of mine and does not do them shall be like a foolish man who built his house on the sand. Verse 27, and the rain came down, and the floods came, and the wind blew, and they beat on that house, and it fell, and great was its fall. Great was its fall. Because it had no foundation. It wasn't founded. It had no substance. So people, most believers claiming they're teaching and they're telling each other, we don't have to follow the instructions of God. We don't have to obey the spiritual laws of God, the spirit from in his spiritual government. We don't have to do this and that. We don't have to love our enemies. We don't have to pray in secret. We don't have to fast in secret. We don't have to do our good deeds in secret. We can let everybody know that we did this for such and such. We can let everybody know that we're prayer warriors. We don't have to forgive each other. We could just greet our brothers and sisters only. We could divorce our wives because we don't get along with them anymore. We could divorce our wives because we're not attracted to them anymore. We could divorce our wives because we don't have any patience for them anymore. These are the lawless. These are the ones who are foolish, who built their house on sand. They don't have any substance because it's not grounded in the teachings of the Messiah. It's not grounded in the lessons of the Messiah. It's not grounded in the examples and demonstrations of the only begotten Son of God. So no substance, it's going to fall. Their house is going to fall. Everything that they stand on will fall. And great was their fall. Verse 28, and it came to be when Yahushua had ended these words. So he's finally ending the words that started in the beginning of chapter 5, verse 2 of Matthew. He's finally ending these words in chapter 7, verse 28 of Matthew. And it came to be when Yahushua had ended these words that the people were astonished at his teachings. These were clearly his teachings that started in chapter 5, verse 2 of Matthew. They're finally ending in chapter 7, verse 26 of Matthew. They were astonished at his teachings. Verse 29, for he was teaching them as one possessing authority and not as the scribes. Those were his teachings, not my teachings. Those are his teachings. Those were the teachings of the Mashiach, the Messiah, the only begotten Son of God. This is what we all should be following, is demonstrations his demonstrations, his examples, his lessons, his teachings, and learning these teachings, lessons, and sharing them and making disciples, students, and taught ones out of the nations, using these teachings, using these lessons. Hallel Yah, hallelujah, praise Yah, may all glory be to Yah, Yahuwah, Shabbat, Yahuwah, Almighty, Yahuwah, Most High, Yahuwah, El Shaddai. Thank you, thank you, Yahushua, Yahushua HaMashiach, son of Yah. It was you who said that when 2 or 3 are gathered in your name, you are present, you are amongst us, you are with us. Since you are with us, since you are in our presence, since you are in our midst, Yahushua HaMashiach, son of Yah, I ask that you help us heal from whatever it is that we need healing from, those who are gathered in your name. Master Yahushua HaMashiach, son of Yah, I ask, since you are in our midst, I ask that you help us find comfort. Those who are gathered in your name find comfort in whatever it is that we need to find comfort in. Master Yahushua HaMashiach, son of Yah, since you are in our midst, I ask that you help us forgive whoever we need to forgive. Have mercy on whoever we need to have mercy. In order for us ourselves to be forgiven. In order for us ourselves to be shown mercy. Master Yahushua HaMashiach, son of Yah, since you are in our midst, those who are gathering your name, I ask that you help us. Help us become spiritual children of your Father through your teachings, through your lessons, through your examples, through your demonstrations. Help us deny ourselves. Help us deny our flesh of what it wants to say, what it wants to do, where it wants to go, and who it wants to be with. Help us rule over our flesh as the spiritual children of God within us. Help us become this. Help us be better at this. Help us learn your teachings, lessons to become this. Help us learn it enough to teach it and make students, disciples, and taught ones of the nations so they can teach it, so they can learn it, so they can teach it. This is your will. Master Yahushua HaMashiach, son of Yah, help us be better towards each other. Help us have empathy for each other. Help us have compassion. Help us respect our parents. Help us get better at respecting our parents and our parents' parents. Help us honor our parents, meaning honor their name no matter what. Honor their reputation no matter what. No matter what they're doing. No matter what they've done to us. Honor their reputation so that we extend our stay in this realm. In order for us to extend our stay in your realm, we have to honor our parents. We have to honor you as we have to honor our heavenly parent. Master Yahushua HaMashiach, son of Yah, since you are in our midst, I ask that you help us be better. You help us be consistent. You help us gather. Help us gather more. You help us gather again. You remind us what it is that we need to be doing, what it is that we need to do. Provide us with the tools to do it. Provide us with the resources. Provide us with the help. Provide us with whatever it is that's needed to carry it out, to carry out what it is, to whatever it is to carry out the desire of your Father and the will of your Father to the best of our ability. Let it be, Master. Let it be. With that being said, I'm going to bless us out according to the blessing that was given in the book of Numbers, chapter 6, verse 23 to 26. Because the battery is getting low and I got to be better prepared to charge. And y'all willing, I'm able to do so next week. Receive your blessing. May Yahuwah barak you and guard you. May Yahuwah make his face shine upon you and show favor to you. May Yahuwah lift up his face upon you and give you peace. Till next time, peace, love, Shabbat Shalom, peace and love.